Okay. Hello, everybody. Well, we're gonna wait a few seconds because it takes some time to get on to Facebook, but hello, everyone. Welcome. We have no idea what we are doing here, but at least it's going to be fun. At least that's what we said. So welcome, Anthony. So everyone who doesn't know, Anthony Mattis is a Talk to the Entities certified facilitator, just like me. And we are here to spice things up a little bit around the spirit world, around perceiving, maybe even intimacy, receiving. We'll see where this goes. So thank you, Anthony, for joining me for this quick chat.
Thank
And
you.
welcome to Hungarians. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, how did you get
yes.
so lucky?
I love Hungary. Yay.
Yay! Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. You know, this morning I was coming back from my date and I got onto the bus, and it was such an interesting thing. There was one lady, there was only one seat available, and I wanted to sit down, but no one was sitting next to that lady. And I was like, so what's going on? And so this lady was an alcoholic. She was drinking, she was literally talking to thin air, at least that's what other people saw.
Mm.
So they were like, oh, this lady is crazy, I'm not sitting next to her. And I was like, no, that works for me. I don't mind. And it was so funny. Like, I had no charge, no judgments. I was just like, yeah, she's talking to someone. It's all right. We all do that. Some of us
Yeah.
are just doing it quietly, inside our heads and all that. And the funny thing is how whatever we judge people as, it literally takes them away from perceiving and receiving what's real and true. And that lady, I can tell you, was way more present than the rest of the bus, essentially. She was spotting a pen on the bottom of the bus, and she was trying to tell people, hey, you dropped the pen. But people were like, you are crazy, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
And just like, how often do we judge a book by its cover instead of perceiving what's there and receiving what is available? So
Yeah.
this is what I have for today.
No, well, that's a great example of this whole entire reality is based on a certain paradigm or a certain presumptive reality, right? It's like one box. So if you have an awareness that's outside that box, you're considered crazy, you're considered even a threat to society. And
Exactly.
those people who have these types of awarenesses outside the box that we're all taught that we should live in, no matter where you are in the world, and whatever that box is, depending on your culture, your religion, and all that, um, even the people themselves struggle with that awareness because they're pretty much made wrong their entire lives. And what I've seen personally is people will actually sort of try to block out those awarenesses with drugs and alcohol.
Exactly.
A lot of times, those awarenesses, when they're sort of like not developed, can lead to a lot of mental illness, like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, or all these different things that the medical community will label. And so, what I love about Talk to the Entities is that, and the Tools of Access Consciousness, it's like a playground for people who are really, really aware to actually develop their awarenesses so that they're not actually at the effect of it. And so yeah, I hear you. It's like you understand what reality that person's living in, and you understand that maybe her struggles and what she probably hasn't had an easy time in this world working with what she's aware of, right? So gosh, we can go into so many different things with what that one person may have been going through in that
I
particular
know.
moment. But yeah, I mean, that's just human nature, unfortunately, is that we tend to shun and walk away or block out anybody that might be
Mm.
different from us. And, it's a shame because those people could be a real attribute and contribution to society as a whole, and actually maybe even come up with newer ideas on how to make the world a better place.
Exactly. And that's the funny thing, how you say we tend to just shut them out, essentially, instead of, and that's, for me, that's the intimacy of perceiving, willing to be perceived and perceive others. Because then later on, I don't know, like halfway, there was a homeless guy who got on the bus, and he was the second person who noticed the pen on the floor.
Mm,
It was just so crazy. Like, that person was way more present. And just because the way he looked, the way he was essentially being in this world,
mm,
people were like, don't talk to me,
yeah.
And it's like, how often do we do that instead of just receiving and perceiving what's real and true? And what's real and true for me might not be real and true for you or someone else, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
For me, and it is a challenge. I can tell you, like, I would have probably ended up in a mental asylum if I didn't have the tools of talk to the entities, because I was hearing voices. I am still seeing things. At least it's not making me crazy anymore. But here's the thing. Are we willing to look at what's real and true for us? And are we willing to receive ourselves and essentially have the intimacy with ourselves to give us a chance? You know what I mean? It's not like you have to be perfect or you have to be able to contribute to society. It's just, are you willing to give yourself a chance to discover what's there? Because you might be surprised. You might be capable of things that you didn't know you were capable of. And that's the magic for me.
Yeah, a lot of people need support though. Most people, before they even come to Access, they felt alone their entire lives. So it's difficult for someone like who has, these capacities, and even for people who don't even think they have these capacities, they actually do. But some people's capacities are a lot more intense, let's say, than your average person. And so a lot of times those people feel very alone in this world. Especially, and the people who are supposed to be closest to you and love you the most are the ones that make you the most wrong. Whether it's your family or your culture, the society you live in, your religion, whatever, they'll make you wrong because your abilities, your capacities, your awarenesses, what you're able to actually perceive that doesn't fit their particular paradigm, you're constantly aware of all this judgment against you. So a lot of these people feel really alone until then you come along and you meet all these amazing tools within Access Consciousness and the Talk to the Entities specialty classes where you're like, oh my God, so I'm not crazy. I do have this ability to perceive and sense this whole other reality or more than one reality that maybe not everybody else sees or perceives. And then you start to be like, oh my God, cool. And you start to feel more sane and less crazy.
Definitely.
And then you just have to realize how crazy everybody else is. But it's not so much that they're crazy. It's almost like they have this shut off mechanism in their world. It's like, it's just not there. Not everyone has the ability to see what you see. They just don't, and not all beings are created equal either. Should be people be have equality? Absolutely. But not all beings are created equal. So not everybody will know what you know, see what you see, and not everybody actually desires to know what you know, especially when it doesn't fit the box or the presumptive reality.
And it's absolutely inappropriate to perceive and know and be without limitations. Like, you are not supposed to know that your daddy is cheating on your mommy. You are not supposed to know that there is a lady who has a dead husband and that husband would like to talk to her. Those are the things that are just absolutely inappropriate to be and know and perceive in this world.
Yeah. Well, I just shoot for the more intense version, especially people who come from very religious backgrounds.
Yeah.
You're going against God or you're going against that particular religion. If God forbid you have an ability to be aware of spirits. And if they're not through the filters of that particular religion, then those people in those respective religions, especially the ones who are the authorities, they'll make you wrong. They'll be like, oh, you're conversing with the devil. You're inviting demons into your life. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, I'm not. It's my dead uncle that's trying to give me a message. I mean, it's like, what's the big deal? My dead uncle's hanging around, he's got a message for me and he's driving me nuts. And until I talk with him a little bit, just for 2 minutes, he's not going to leave me alone, and if I keep ignoring him, I'm going to keep having insomnia. Right. But when I go to the doctors, they're like, oh, you need to take these pills because you have insomnia, or you have depression or it's just that you're running away from your awareness, but everybody's making you wrong. Like, you shouldn't have that awareness. So then you stuff it down and then it ends up wreaking havoc on your life.
Well, we just went down the rabbit hole, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
it's
to me,
brilliant.
it's the ultimate. I mean, that's like the extreme. It's like when you have capacities, or when you have a certain level of awareness, most people try to hide from that.
Mm,
Most people are not willing to have the vulnerability to look at everything and include everything, not just the physical things of this world, but even the non-physical things. It hurts. It's going to
mm,
create symptoms, whether it's physical or mental, because it's all energy. Anyway, at the end of the day, it's all energy. I don't care what you call it, it's energy. So when you try to run from energy that's pushing on you,
mm,
it's going to create symptoms. But if you lower your walls and barriers, the energy has nothing to stick to. And then you could actually look at things for what they are. And then you could actually have ease with your awareness. That's where the intimacy of perceiving comes in. You actually have ease. It's this ease and this relaxation into all the energies that you're aware of, not just the things that are in front of your face, but even the things that are sort of like back here or through there.
Well, or maybe it's inside of your head already, actually. It includes
Yeah.
everything, right?
Well,
Yeah,
hopefully they don't get that close, but sometimes they do.
they do sometimes, and it's okay. I just find it really like what's challenging in a way to be a talk to the entities facilitator is being aware of how much is available and how much miracle and magic can actually show up by receiving the spirit word. And then you will have people come to you and they're like, I've been trying to get rid of this spirit and it's been like giving me a pain in my back. And I had this like, a year ago, but I could get rid of it then. And then why am I not able to get rid of it now? Can you please help me get rid of it? It's like they come to you with all sorts of judgments and like I don't know if you ever do that. I'm like, so have you tried receiving the spirit? And they're like, what do you mean receiving the spirit? It's like, well, I don't know, like if there is a courier bringing you a gift that you have been asking for, are you shutting the door in the face of the courier, or are you actually opening up the door and taking the gift? And
Yeah, but nobody's taught that anywhere because, again, especially even if you're not religious, you still have the point of view of sort of like religion in the background. So, like in the common point of view, especially in the religious world, no matter where you are in the world, is that if you receive a gift
mm,
from something in the spirit and it's not through the filters of that particular religion, whatever it is, then you're actually inviting something dark in. And that's where the fear comes in with people, for people. And that's what we try to help to debunk is all the superstitions, all the different fears, where the fears actually originated from and why they implemented those types of points of view so that you don't ever have control of your own life. It's a way for them to stay in control. I'm sorry, but religion's not designed to empower. It actually disempowers, especially those people who are super, super
mm,
and hyper aware. Does it work for many people? Absolutely. It sure
totally.
does. And I'm not against it at all. But if it worked, we'd have
Mm.
communion and more consciousness in this planet, and we don't. We still have polarization and separation and war, and everybody's just trying to be more right than the next person.
Well, absolutely. I actually have a sense that we already fried them. I don't know what you perceive. You think we lost them? We
Okay.
might have absolutely just lost them by now.
So, but like what is intimacy of perceiving? It's like, our bodies feel, our beings perceive, they
Mm,
sense, and everybody has the ability to perceive, know, be, and receive. But it's like, how do you develop those muscles,
mm,
right? Because what we're taught is to have thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And if there's anything outside of the five senses, it's not real. It's your
mm,
imagination. But when you have an intimacy with, that's according to this reality. But what we know is that there is something beyond the five senses. And that's what the tools are designed to do, is to help you to develop your perceiving, knowing, being, and receiving so that you can know what you know. And no matter who's judging you, who's making you wrong, it doesn't matter. They could even have a gun up to your head. You're going to know what you know. No one will be able to take that away from you. So it's designed to empower you and for you to actually have ease with the world around you, not just the physical world, but the non-physical world too.
And I just find it so interesting how people think that the spirit world is something we cannot, see, we cannot touch it, we cannot smell it, but we can. Like there are so many people who are able to, let's say, see them. That's like a very, common thing. Or some people can hear them. Some people feel their touch on their body. Some people can actually smell them. Let's say, one of my grandfather, he used to be a chain smoker, actually both of them, but one of them doesn't often visit me, but when he does, I smell the smoke of the cigarette.
Yeah.
And these are actually part of the 5 senses that this reality is talking about. And just by educating ourselves and educating people on like how perceiving the spirit world can manifest, and sure, energy is one of them, like this, don't think of a pink elephant and then you are thinking about it, that's another thing. Telepathy is another thing. Having images in your head is another thing. But the 5 senses are included. That's the funny part.
They can be, but they're included by oh God, blah blah. Now you're short-circuiting my 5 senses.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yes.
We just fried all of our senses.
I'm
Thank
fried.
you.
I'm also like on Eastern Standard Time, but I've been up
Yeah.
for the certified facilitators class, European time. So I've been up since 3 in the morning. So my brain is like totally shot.
That's totally fine. And how often do we judge that? Like, oh, my brain is fried. I don't know I should understand what they are talking about. Like, how many people are having no clue what we are talking about right now? And they're like, I have to re-listen, I have to make notes, I have to understand what they mean, instead of just relaxing into it and just be like, okay, so what can this give to me? What can I receive? Like, am I willing to receive beyond the words? And this is something like we learned that is not valuable. We learned that, hearing it, understanding it, making notes is somehow more valuable, real, and true than actually just receiving it. And guys, it's totally fine if you have no clue what we are talking about. We have no clue what's coming out of our mouths. We are just basically following the energy and we have no idea what's going on either. But we are receiving whatever is going on. Are you willing to just, relax into it? As Shannon O'Hara likes to say, submit and just receive. Yeah.
Submit. I love that word.
She uses that so much.
Yeah.
And it's so much that, because how often do we try to dominate it, control our senses, our perceiving, our receiving? Like, I'm going to receive, but if I receive, it has to have this certain result. Or, okay, I'm going to receive, but I'm only going to receive the good stuff. Instead of just like, okay, I submit, what's going to create more. I'll receive all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, because I know that the universe is actually looking out for me. And I know that whatever is coming, that's going to create greater. But that might take some courage. I don't know. We'll see.
Total receiving is receiving all energies without a point of view. You can't just ask for more receiving and only receive one particular energy. But if you're willing to have it and be that space of vulnerability, you'll have access to create anything in your life that you desire.
Can you repeat that? Because I think people did not hear you say that you can
when you
create
have total
anything.
receiving, where you have the willingness to receive the good, the bad, and the ugly of yourself and the great of yourself and everyone else without a point of view, you have access to all energies to create the life that you desire. The problem is when people come to me for facilitation, like, I want to increase my receiving. I'll be like, are you sure? Like, do you actually know what receiving is? But really what they're asking for is they want to receive more money or more sex, or they want to receive a new man in their life or a new woman in their life or whatever. Like, they're just asking for one particular energy. That's not receiving. You've already judged who, what, where, when, and how you could actually receive from. That's not true receiving. That's not total receiving. Total receiving is receiving all energies without a point of view.
Well, are they willing to be that courageous?
It's a big muscle. It's a big muscle everybody has to take. But, again, we have these amazing tools and stuff. We have body processes to help you to have more ease with your receiving. We have the access consciousness bars. We have all the verbal processing that we do. We even have, resources for abuse. A lot of people have a hard time receiving because of maybe a lot of the abuse they've had throughout their lives. So there's resources for that. So there's just so many different things that are available within the world of access consciousness that will help you to receive with more ease.
Mm. And for me, talk to the entities tools. Well, okay, for me, that literally saved my life. Like I wouldn't be sitting
Sure.
here if I didn't have those tools for sure. But
Yeah.
what I'm inviting everyone is to, you can just see for yourself. I believe you are doing an introduction class as well, which is just like 2 hours, for those of you that would just like to take a peek, see whether this is too crazy for you. And then you are also doing a beginning class and an intermediate class. Can you remind me the dates just so that I'm not saying anything silly?
Well, let me remind myself of the dates. Hold on a
We are
second.
not exactly the
So I don't
people
know.
who, yeah.
I think it's the first weekend in June, but let me
I think
see.
so.
Um, let me see. Oh my goodness.
We are absolutely organized people, as you can see.
June 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th online.
There you go.
Yeah. So how does it get better than that?
So yeah, if you just want to see for yourself, give it a go. I would recommend trying out the introduction class because it actually starts opening up possibilities for you. And you might actually even ask a question if you dare to submit and ask for more. And then if you want more and more and more, like each and every single time I'm facilitating one of those beginning classes, there's always at least one person who just comes to my intro class and stays for the whole weekend. So
Yeah.
I
True
wonder
story.
how many of those people can you have this time?
And I just want to speak to the people who are like, this is definitely not for me because I was that person. Like
Mm.
you knew you had a capacity with entities in the spirit world. I didn't. For me, what I knew I had capacities in was with energy work and bodies, because, as a professional, I'm a doctor of chiropractic and stuff. So bodies and stuff like that and helping people to facilitate healing in their bodies was something that came natural to me. But the spirit world, I always thought it was for somebody else. And it took me a while to actually
Mm.
submit or receive the tools of talk to the entities. I actually had two beginning classes, and I like the whole time they always just made me angry and mad. I'm like, oh, this is such bullshit. Bullshit. How do I know this is not just fantasy, And like, this is just not for me. I don't have a capacity. And then for those of you who have actually been involved in access consciousness for some time, you've learned about this question called who does this belong to
Mm.
for everything that's showing up in your mind or like in your body. And when I finally was able to receive and hear the tools of talk to the entities, it took that question of who does this belong to a much, much deeper, more profound level for me. So even if you have the point of view that this is not for you, it's only for those kind of like special people who see and hear and actually do have experiences with their five senses with entities. I wasn't one of those people. This will help you to develop your perceiving, knowing, being, and receiving. And then you'll start to pay attention to how it actually does show up through the five senses, actually. So it's really cool. So I wanted to speak to you because Shannon even made a joke once at Facilitators, the creator of Talk to Energy. She's like, you're the most normal person who's ever come to talk to the entities. And I thought it was very
Oh
funny,
gosh.
right? So, but yeah. So if you think it's not for you, probably because you're just resisting it and you have the point of view that you don't have a capacity for this. But everybody, like I said earlier, has the ability to perceive, know, be, and receive the spirit world. So
And I mean, it might just be my interesting point of view, but what I found out by facilitating these classes is that people just somehow start to receive more of themselves.
totally.
For me, the way we interact with the spirit world intensely reflects our real life relationships, whether if it's with our loved ones, friends, colleagues. It literally shows you how you interact in this reality. And, it
Yeah.
might not be comfortable, but what I found is cooperating in the spirit world can teach you essentially how to enjoy life more. how to enjoy real life. Like, I used to be a kid who did not want to be here. I did not want to talk to people. I spent more time talking to the invisible than reality, you know?
Mhm.
And it was actually them who taught me how I can actually interact with people and I can actually have fun. Who knew? Like, I can actually have fun having a conversation with you or other people. And I'm like, I did not see that coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
totally. It'll help you in your like everyday life
yeah.
and it'll
So,
empower you, make you stronger with people. I didn't see that one coming either. That's very well said and
yeah.
so true. And so true. And it'll teach you not to take shit from people anymore
Oh, yeah.
too. People with bodies. I don't know
Mm,
what it does. It has this indirect impact in making you more potent
mm.
in your life. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because it actually really reflects everything you be back onto you.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like when you're dealing with the spirit world, it's a great way to learn. It's just the way you be
Mm.
is enough.
Wow.
Your being is enough. And it's just a great way of developing you sort of knowing
Yeah.
your being.
And receiving and
Yeah,
perceiving.
all
Yeah,
of it. So,
absolutely. Well, on that note, all I
yeah,
can tell you guys,
come play.
just try it out, play. Seriously, don't try to take it too serious. It might save your life. It might just give you a good time, hard time. We'll see. But just, all I can recommend is Anthony is an amazing and funny guy. He's kind of weird, but who isn't? So, if you like that sort of stuff, just check his stuff out. It's
I'm
fun.
not as normal as I look.
Yeah,
Put it
he's
that way.
kind of, it's not how he looks, it's what he is. So, you
Yeah.
might find something surprising there. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Anthony,
Thank
for
you, Lily.
hopping on.
Appreciate it.
And well, guys,
Thanks,
you know
Brigitte.
what you have to do. Try it out and see for yourself, because we cannot tell you what's real and true. It's only you who can know what's real and true for you. So we can show you some tools, and then it's up to you to see whether that works or not. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anthony. We'll see you
Bye-bye.
soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.